That's right, our love White Lion style. I thought about doing it when I was talking to my buddy Pawn Shop Mike. We were talking about guitar players. The interesting thing about Vito Bratta, when you look at some of the famous guitar players from back then, Rat, chord inversions, stuff like that, Van Halen, and who else? White Lion. So, I thought about it. We're not going to do the song. I'm going to show you some of the techniques he did. That was one of them. It's kind of like a... Practice that, and then practice this. And you alternate them while you mute the strings. Very cool lick. One of the things he stole from Van Halen, Eddie played it sliding his finger. He did it with 2 fingers. And he would add a lot of stuff into it. That's another cool technique. I actually took that from him and started running it in scales. We'll talk about that in another time, because I get asked about that. I used to do that live a lot. That's another technique. Another cool thing he did was with his tapping, and he would alternate his tempo. So what he's doing is he's going faster and slower. Then he would hammer and do the vibrato down there. Very, very cool technique. Based on Eddie Van Halen, so he took Eddie's licks and he made them his own. He did another lick that was similar to that up here, and it's on the pentatonic, and this is using like a kind of like thirds and fifths, and then some of the blues notes. So here's your pentatonic, and he went a little wider. Right out of the book of George Lynch and Eddie Van Halen. Same pattern, second string. Same pattern, third string. Now from here, he would jump it down into the E minor pentatonic, and this would drop all the way to here. And then he would add that slide thing again. Very cool stuff. It's hard to do when you got to get used to the sliding and the vibrato with this, because you want to go like that, but you got to do it kind of like that. Very, very cool stuff. Another thing that he would do is chord inversions, but he did them in a different way. So, well, let me tell you one other technique he did. So if you take an E major, what he would do is he would slide into those notes on one string. He's playing the arpeggio. And then he goes up the strings. Very clever, playing arpeggio, sliding into the arpeggio one note above and into the arpeggio of the chord tone. So he would do stuff like that all the time, taking the arpeggio and then on one string, and then he would hammer that way too. Like I've seen him do stuff where he's gone like. Like that. I've seen him do that, which is very remnant. Reminds me of Nuno's lick. Except he's in standard tuning. Now this one he would alter here. So he did a lot of stuff like that, which was really cool. Again, the chord inversions, like he would roll them up. So instead of playing the root, he played the root here. So he did stuff like that for fills. Stuff like that, and it's like he did a lot of stuff like that. So he played up here with the inversions a lot. Very, very clever, Mr. Brato. So this, again, it's a little longer. He had a lot of licks. He had some really cool stuff. I really like this one. Oh, my game's on. I like that a lot. I don't do those licks a lot anymore. I do know a couple of their songs like Wait and stuff like that, and Radar Love. If you guys want me to do a cover lesson of that, I can. But I think the lick thing is kind of cooler. You can learn the song anywhere on YouTube. The lick thing is not as easy to learn. A lot of people have their variations of the licks. And it's an odd thing because a lot of people play them a little different. I watched him play it live, so like I would watch him and see how he was doing those, you know, kind of like that. One other thing he did before I forget, he hammered chords. He does it in. And then he does the. The whammy. Listen to those licks. If you don't like White Lion, I understand that, but listen to the guitar work in there. It's some of it's kind of complex because he crammed so much stuff in there, more so than Eddie Van Halen. But he was a great songwriter as well. So I put, for me, George Lynch, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads are the top three for me. But I have to put Vito Bratta in that group along with Gary Moore from the 80s, as well as John Sykes. Those are probably the top guitar players with them. Gary Moore, Sykes, Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, and Vito Bratta, and everybody else was a product of those guitar players, I think. You know, and there were some other great guitar players in bands too, like Firehouse and Rat. Rat's another one with the chord inversions. And it's funny because this is what led to the discussion. A lot of those top guitar players like Warren DeMartinis and Lynch all did chord inversions. So it's interesting that all the top guitar players were doing those inversions, including Firehouse and some of the others. So I hope you like this lesson as well. Peace out. Look like Tiny Tim in the video when I get out of the shower, don't I? Peace.